Hello, everyone. It's great to be with you. Now, today's presentation is entitled Cosmic Consciousness 2. 2 because it's a follow-up on an earlier Department of Instruction teleconference. It was entitled Cosmic Consciousness, and it was available now on Rosicrucian TV on YouTube. Now, to prepare ourselves for this presentation, I will mention, by way of introduction, that a central purpose of the Rosicrucian Order AMORC is to assist us in coming into the full maturation as a human being in the consciousness of the cosmic. And by the cosmic, the Rosicrucians mean the intelligence back of the cosmos and all natural and spiritual laws that we can attune with and be one with. And we'll be doing a lot with this consciousness of the cosmic in this presentation. Now, what are the characteristics of this cosmic consciousness? How is it directed to make in our lives, relationships, and environment more harmonious? We'll be dealing with that. First, we'll start though with a meditation exercise to stimulate this state in our daily lives. You'll see here now a depiction of work by Robert Flood, one of his many mystical diagrams. He's a traditional Rosicrucian, and he wrote a compendium of works entitled The History of the Macrocosm and the Microcosm that were printed during 1617 to 1626. This particular diagram was from one of the volumes from 1619 and translated from the Latin. The caption for it is "of the three lines of vision in the body." You'll notice that it's on the Rosicrucian Journal front cover. Now, the Rosicrucian Journal is a scholarly publication operated through the Rosicrucian Order AMORC. The executive editor is the imperator of the Rosicrucian Order, and the editor-in-chief is the Grand Master of our English Grand Lodge for the Americas. The assistant editor-in-chief is Ingrid Young, who joins us and helps us with these presentations. And there's many others who assist with this work and publication. Now, in this particular volume, 14 from 2020, there was an issue by Dr. G. Brian Young, an article entitled "The Brain Mind as a Network Entity, a Medical Case Study in Consciousness." In part of that article, Dr. Young describes and refers to this diagram of Robert Flood. And I'll zoom in and take a closer look at it here for you. The diagram shows our connection to the outer and inner worlds, or the unity of all, through the 5 physical senses, pointed out here, and the functions of the brain and the mind, pointed out here, and our connection to the divine consciousness or the cosmic consciousness, even symbolically shown here with the 9-fold angelic structure spoken of by the renowned mystic of ancient times, the Pseudo-Dionysius, in his Divine Hierarchy text. So this here shows our unity in consciousness with the all, or the consciousness of the cosmic, described here. It's a very inspiring picture, and that's part of the reason it was placed on the front of the Rosicrucian Journal in 2020. Let us take in this diagram, because the way it shows our structure and our way of interacting with the world, both within and without, as one continuum or unity. You see like the lines of energy here to show the energy or power of that higher consciousness of the cosmic consciousness. Let's take this in a little more as we prepare to do our meditation, and then we'll have the presentation proper. Now we'll follow the instructions of the booklet Liber 777 that's available to Rosicrucian students and others who are interested in learning this particular method of meditation. However, it encompasses essentially all methods of meditation in its approach. So at this time, I suggest that you get comfortable in your chair for our period of meditation. Make sure you have your spine upright and you can breathe in an unencumbered way. Or if you prefer to lie down or have some other position, just that you can easily breathe. Take deep breaths. Just enjoy the gentle rhythm of your breath. And I suggest you have your hands in your laps, palms down. And if you're seated, you can have your legs at right angle, feet flat on the floor, connected with the earth, right angle at the knees. Spine upright, which is like our cosmic axis. Just continue to enjoy the gentle rhythm of the breath, breathing deeper than you usually do if that's comfortable, and breathing mainly through your nostrils if that's comfortable, because breathing through the nostrils helps ensure that we're taking deep breaths, taking in what the Rosicrucians refer to as the vital life force. And as you take those deep neutral breaths, neither holding the inhalation or the exhalation, I think you'll find there's a wonderful, enriching, tingling effect that you'll feel in the extremities of your body, particularly in the toes, the feet, and the hands. That's the vital life force that we breathe in through the air and then is circulated throughout the body through the great actions of the heart, pumping the blood. Mystical traditions, including that of the Rosicrucians, our body is viewed as the holy temple, housing the master within it, a divine within, which is our true nature. These are great lessons in life that we need to have well in place. Just continue to take deep, neutral breaths, neither holding the inhalation or the exhalation. And we'll soon prepare ourselves to rise to the heights of the celestial sanctum, as described in the book Liber 777. Now, the Rosicrucians use the term "so mote it be" to mean "so be it in truth," and we'll use that at certain points in our meditation. So bear that in mind. Now, to rise to the heights of the celestial sanctum in our meditation period, we'll begin with a prayer and invocation. May the divine essence of the cosmic infuse my being and cleanse me of all impurities of mind and body, that I may enter the celestial sanctum and attune in pureness and in worthiness. So mote it be. Now let us begin to rise using our mind, imagination, and our psychic capacity up above the room where we're dwelling, even up over the dwelling of our home or house. And just use inward spiritual force to rise up quickly, up over the neighborhood where you dwell, and then up over the town or the city, geographic area that you're in. Just enjoy the exhilaration of rising up faster and faster. Use great inner spiritual force to do this. Don't be passive at this time. When we reach the heights of the celestial sanctum, we'll be passive and surrender and attune with the divine within, but keep rising up faster and faster, accelerating faster and faster, and take in the entirety of this city and town where you are. See the great system and order of the streets and its structure, and radiate love and well-being down to all sentient beings and creatures and the people there. And continue to rise up faster and faster above the weather systems and the clouds and the rivers, the hills, the mountains, deserts, whatever landforms you live nearby. And take in the entire state or province where you live. And keep rising up, enjoying the exhilaration of the ascent. Doing this great inner spiritual force. Give it everything you've got as we rise up. For by the law of correspondence, as above, so below, as we rise up, we'll also go deep within our natures to the God within. Now view below the entire nation or country where you dwell. See the beauty of its landforms, the lakes, the rivers, the oceans as applicable. Great weather systems moving through or over your country. And now taking the entire continent where you dwell. And as you rise faster and faster, taking the entire hemisphere. And now speed out and see the beautiful blue sphere of the earth, like a beautiful blue jewel. And sense it revolving about its axis, part of the great system and order and music of the universe. And continue up as you rise faster and faster and see our solar system, the great fiery ball of the sun, and enjoy its actions, the nuclear fusion and sunspots, the tremendous heat there radiating out to us, the great spiraling or great rings of Saturn, the huge planet of Jupiter, and the smaller planets of Mercury, Mars, and Venus, and sense their special psychic and spiritual influence on us as we pass out from this solar system, now looking up to the myriad stellar phenomena beyond that of our local sun. See quasars and pulsars and supernovae radiating out tremendous light. And sense the presence of black holes that help balance the universe. Rise up faster and faster by myriad stars and see nebulae, and start to sense the larger structure of our great home that we call the Milky Way galaxy. Continue to go faster and faster past stars and take in the great range of vibrations far greater than our 5 physical senses can take in, on the increasing rates of vibrations of the octaves of the universe that the Rosicrucians call the cosmic keyboard. Sense the great sea of vibrations, the exhilarations, the great music that they are enacting for us, the harmony of the spheres. As you go faster and faster, go right out from the Milky Way galaxy and look back at its great spiraling arms and sense its great motion about its center, just as the Earth revolves about the sun and the Earth revolves about its axis. So the Milky Way galaxy, and we rotate about its great center and look up from the Milky Way galaxy and see other galaxies, some spiraling and some in other forms, and the myriad stars and shapes, and continue to go faster and faster and enjoy the beauty of the ascent and the great sea of vibrations, the music of the cosmos that is a great temple of the divine or of God. And as we go faster and faster, way beyond the speed of light, because we're transcending space and time, so we have no physical limitations now. Start to take the galaxies in their clusters, what astronomers refer to as superclusters of galaxies, and see the superclusters of galaxies in their various positions in the universe. Sense the great system and order of the universe as a macrocosm that mirrors our own selves and bodies as a microcosm. All the laws and principles in the universe take place within us as a mini universe. And continue to rise up faster and faster by myriad superclusters of galaxies in awe at the vastness of the universe. Even though it's finite, it gives us a sense of the infinite that is within us. As we move faster and faster, seeing all the superclusters of galaxies and the great stupendous harmony and order of it all, start to sense the great revolving motion of the universe itself, about the great cosmic axis. The mystics and philosophers have spoken about from ancient times. Sense the stupendous motion, circular nature, and detect the presence of the great cosmic axis about these revolutions take place. And home end would go faster and faster towards the midpoint of that great cosmic axis, the center of the universe. Go faster and faster towards that axis and its midpoint. And as you get closer and closer to it, slow up as you come to the midpoint of the cosmic axis. And as you dwell there, visualize what the Rosicrucians refer to as the celestial sanctum, or the cathedral of the soul. Fill it in with all the sights and sounds of your 5 physical senses. See it as an inspiring place in nature. It may be just the view this from the center of the cosmos, or it may be a sacred grove of trees that you remember of inspiring nature, or a meadow where you're by a lake shore or a seashore and you see the myriad waves suggesting the great vibrations of the universe coming in. Take your seat at your special sacred place. It may be a built temple like a Sikh Gurdwara or a Buddhist temple or assembly hall or Muslim mosque or Christian cathedral or church or some other sacred temple. Your mind, fill it in now with all the sights and sounds. You may wish to smell incense that is rising up, suggesting the great elevation of consciousness that we've just undertaken as we rose to the heights of the celestial sanctum. You may wish to observe beautiful stained glass windows in your temple with various mystical laws and principles of the cosmic portrayed there. And as you sit in this inspiring, exhilarating place, the center of the cosmos, at the center of your being, sense the presence of other seekers and others on this teleconference. You may wish also to visualize a great ritual of an inspiring nature, such as a mystical convocation of the Rosicrucian Order conducted by the Imperator and the Grand Lodge officers of our order, such as the Grand Master and Grand Counselors. Keep filling in the sights and sounds and other sensory impressions of your celestial sanctum to make it real, vital. And when that's when they've done that, just take some time to dwell in deep silence. And feel the life force in your body tingling and enriching you, having a great healing and tonic effect throughout the holy temple as you continue to dwell in the deep silence at the center of your being, at the center of the cosmos, in the celestial sanctum. I think you'll begin to sense a wonderfully profound peace that's enriching and healing and gives us a true perspective on life. The Rosicrucians refer to it as peace profound. Just continue to dwell at the center, experience this deep form of peace. If you find your mind wandering, just lovingly and gently bring it back to the still center, the gentle rhythms of your breath. Inhaling and exhaling on a microcosmic scale, similar to how the universe was breathed into existence by the Logos, the great word. Just feel whatever there is to feel. Meditation is a profound act of non-avoidance. Whatever rises up in your mind, take note of it, return back to the gentle breaths of this great still center. It's all part of the process. Enjoy this great adventure that is our birthright, to attune with the cosmic and experience the consciousness of the cosmic consciousness. Now, as we continue to dwell in this still center, The divine within resides within us and imbues the entire cosmos. Picture your mind expanding to fill the entire cosmos, taking it in its entirety. Sense your mind being identified with the cosmic mind, the universal intelligence back of the cosmos and the cosmic. Picture your mind filling the cosmos, being the cosmic mind, experiencing as the cosmic mind experiences, assuming the cosmic mind. Let's do this now. Now, as we continue to dwell at the heights of the celestial sanctum, one with the cosmic mind, let us undertake a special spiritual operation of the Rosicrucian Order AMORC. Let us participate in the work of the Silent Council in conjunction with the Council of Solace, the Rosicrucian Order AMORC. Let us radiate love and well-being from our hearts and minds to all those who have petitioned the Grand Lodge for healing, for upliftment, and for guidance, and all those who've petitioned for metaphysical aid of our affiliated bodies, and all those who are in need of aid at this time and healing to be made whole, and all sentient beings throughout the cosmos who are in need at this time. Radiate love and well-being. Use great inner spiritual force through the divine within, not through your outer nature, but the inner nature, to just radiate love and well-being like a great filling the cosmos, helping heal and make whole all those in need. Do so now and enjoy the exhilaration of the flow out from you into the cosmic. Radiate the love and well-being like a great floodlight throughout the cosmos. At a certain point, I think you'll find that the flow of love and well-being speeds up. It's flowing much more easily. Then you'll have a deep sense that you're making contact with those in need. Just let it continue to happen. At a certain point, too, I think you will no longer need to make a conscious effort to let the flow occur through you, coming deep from the divine within, for your outer nature is acting as a channel or a conduit for this healing. When that happens, just continue to dwell the heights of the celestial sanctum at the still center, as the love and well-being flows with great speed out from you. Be experiencing a great tonic effect on your own being. The law of karma, for as we've given, so shall we receive, without intending as such. Just continue to let love and well-being radiate out from you as you're one with the cosmic mind. Now we'll prepare to formally conclude this work of the Silent Council in conjunction with the Council of Solace. We'll continue our meditation. But to conclude this period of metaphysical aid, let us say, if it pleases the cosmic, it is done, so mote it be. Assured that the radiations of love and well-being will continue from us as a way of life and as an act of service in our mission in life. Continue to dwell, fratres and sorors and participants, at one with the cosmic mind in the experience of cosmic consciousness. Now, fratres and sorors and participants, we'll soon begin our descent from the heights of the celestial sanctum. You may wish to express your gratitude to all those who have loved you, to all those who have guided you, and inspired you in this life. And I express my gratitude to you for all the work and worship that you're doing of the Rosicrucian Order AMORC and all the service that you're rendering to humanity and to all, and all your diligent studies and thoughtfulness in perfecting yourselves and maturing into self-mastery. Thank you. Now let us begin our descent from the heights of the celestial sanctum, exhilarated by this contact as we zoom past superclusters of galaxies, myriad stellar phenomena such as pulsars and quasars, binary stars and supernovae, and even black holes, and continue to speed by nebulae and galaxies. And see in the distance our home, the Milky Way galaxy, the spiraling galaxy. As we come closer to it, sense its great revolving action about its center, and zoom right into the great arm, which is our home. And by myriad stellar phenomena and nebulae, black holes and pulsars and quasars, all the stars, and see in the distance the solar system and our great sun, the fiery ball of the sun with the planets revolving about it. And see as we get closer the beautiful blue jewel of the earth, the temple of the earth. As we come towards it, through the hemisphere where you dwell, and the continent, and the country, the province or state. And let us say together, May the God of my heart sanctify this attunement of self with the celestial sanctum, so mote it be. And let us continue down into the city or town or geographic area we are, our neighborhood, in the home or dwelling, back in the room where we left off, and sense where we're lying or seated. Experience how we've been remade, rejuvenated, and regenerated. Ready all the more for the work and worship of the Rosicrucian Order AMORC and fulfilling our mission in life and discharging our duties as needed. You may wish to stretch and open your eyes, and we'll be ready for the presentation proper now, fratres and sorors and participants. Thank you. Now, a diagram that's closely related to the one of Robert Flood that I showed you is this diagram here, which is a simplified form of what can be referred to as the Rosicrucian schematic diagram of mental processes. And we'll use that to help us understand our presentation topic, cosmic consciousness. You see, you can think of this diagram as a map of ourselves. And we have our external world where we take in impressions, but we have our 5 physical senses that receive those impressions, and they convey those to what Rosicrucians refer to as the objective consciousness or the objective mind. And then on the subjective consciousness or subjective mind, that imagery is taken in of whatever form it takes. The imagery can be thought of in the broad abstract sense of sound, visual, touch, and so forth. The subjective mind has the short-term memory. It also has our inductive and deductive reasoning. It also, importantly, helps us assess this sensory input from the external world. But below that is the subconscious that helps run all those involuntary actions in our body, the great system and order of our vital organs, such as the heart and the kidney and the bowels. The subconscious also are in contact through our dreaming process, and it works through symbols. Its language is that of symbols. There's also deep-seated emotions and residual stresses there that we work to purge. The subconscious is also the place where our habits are, like laws in the subconscious that we work to change to make harmonious with new laws as we develop. And you'll notice overarching all this is the cosmic. The cosmic I mentioned before is the universal intelligence back of the universe and the cosmos and all natural spiritual laws. And the cosmic mind and the cosmic consciousness is imbued in all forms of consciousness, from the cells in our body, right through the objective consciousness, the subjective consciousness, and the subconscious are all phases of the one unified cosmic consciousness. Now, at this time of year, we've recently passed through the winter solstice. And we're in the great work of nature, often behind the scenes in winter. This is a time where there's a building of light, and we can use this as a time, as has been done traditionally by mystics and philosophers, for the building of the cosmic sense or the cosmic consciousness within us. The cosmic sense is a term that's used to refer to that sense of the cosmic within us. Now, a central purpose of the Rosicrucian Order AMORC studies is to draw us into this state of evolution and thereby assist others and others likewise to evolve into this consciousness of the cosmic. This matter is seen as the great underlying process of maturation, the evolution of all humans and sentient beings in the cosmos. We're part of this great drama and adventure. We are co-workers with the divine in this sense, in further bringing this conscious awareness into the cosmos, the great temple of God. Even a brief interlude in our contact with cosmic consciousness provides us with great impetus for creative and constructive work, inspiring direction for our life from then on. Now, in the history of humankind, spirituality and mysticism, various closely related terms have been used to refer to cosmic consciousness. For example, from the Christian tradition, heaven, or the kingdom of heaven, is within us. Or in Hindu tradition, there's various terms such as nirvana, bliss. In the tradition of the Haudenosaunee, through the teachings of the peacemaker, this is associated with the Iroquois in the beautiful Finger Lake district of upstate New York. The peacemaker spoke of the good mind when he spoke of this consciousness of the cosmic. Now, the Rosicrucian Order AMORC is not a religion, but it deals with our understanding of spiritual matters and helps us, if we have a chosen religion, understand it much more. And when we come into a greater experience of the cosmic, we understand far more the stories of sacred texts and what they're conveying to us. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this consciousness of the cosmic and of the cosmos is imbued in all things and all creatures in varying degrees of expression and realization. One of the great authors on this topic of cosmic consciousness is Richard Maurice Buck, who is an inspired doctor and psychiatrist who was born in Canada. He wrote a book entitled Cosmic Consciousness. The first edition is from 1901. Later, I'll be giving you various references that Karen will post in the chat for you at the end of the presentation. And he spoke about the evolution of consciousness as we do in the Rosicrucian tradition and various mystical traditions. You can think of a simple consciousness that all living creatures have. It's the response to one's immediate surroundings, and acts on impulse and instinct. Beyond that, though, there can be a self-consciousness developed that humans have in varying degrees. You know, we take for granted the capacity that we can look in mirror and see ourselves in physical form. In a way, that's a great step forward in the development of consciousness, or in the realization, increasingly, of cosmic consciousness. An even greater act than that is if not only can we reflect on our inner nature, our thoughts and feelings, that's self-consciousness. And in the Rosicrucian Order, helps us develop self-consciousness. Humanity has developed self-consciousness to a marked degree, but it has to be highly developed before we can develop the fuller realization of the cosmic consciousness. Self-consciousness then gives us that capacity to reflect on our thoughts and feelings. And that allows us to mature greatly and understand how we need to change and develop better habits in our subconscious. Now, beyond that, there's the cosmic consciousness. We remember the diagram of mental processes of the cosmic. It's the consciousness of the simple consciousness, of the self-consciousness, and of the entirety. It takes in the whole. It realizes not only are we part of the whole, but the whole is part of us as an astounding experience. Now, part of the attraction to various things that we see in human culture, for example, space exploration, launching from the Earth, say the great Apollo missions to the moon, is a subtle but strong reminder of an even greater exploration of the infinite that we come into in cosmic consciousness, where it's the greatest journey and adventure of all. And it is our birthright, and it is our destiny. Now, the outer self, where the self-consciousness where it resides, will increasingly get intimations that the great inner forces are building as with the dawn of the experience of cosmic consciousness. And at that time, we may be guided to go to a particular place, maybe a sacred place in the woods that we know of, or of a temple. Because the outer mind needs impressions to gather these higher cosmic vibrations to get a full understanding, not only inwardly, but outwardly. That's often why we do meditation, as we just did earlier, So some of the impressions that may have come to us may come later in the day after the meditation, but we'll have a deep inner sense that they were starting to percolate up during that meditation. As we approach the cosmic consciousness experience, there's a great stillness. We found that in the meditation experience that we had just before we did this presentation proper. It's somewhat like being at the eye of a hurricane. You sense that there's a great stillness, but there's great forces of the cosmic, of a constructive nature there. Now, sometimes it's an encounter with another person, something they say, or an animal, or maybe a child, because the child in their deep and beautiful innocence have a great attunement with the cosmic that helps us attune with the cosmic, like two tuning forks. One's vibrating and the other one with the same frequency starts to enable us to vibrate and draws us into the cosmic in that way as well. Sometimes it's an inspiring work of art or a great work of science that was inspired, such as Einstein helping develop the modern physics. Or maybe an uplifting piece of music of a particularly poignant nature. Because to enter into that higher experience, we need to have the emotions and the intellect, reasoning well activated. The 2 points of the triangle, the form of perfect manifestation for that deeper intuitive experience. Also, our nervous systems, parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems must become in balance. When they're in a perfect balance, there's a state of enlightenment, state of the cosmic consciousness. But as we increasingly balance those two nervous systems, as the Rosicrucian exercises do, we'll find that we come to greater harmony and attunement with the cosmic. Now, all the mystical exercises that we do in the Rosicrucian Order, through other spiritual traditions, and all the trials and tests that we have and struggles in our life, they've all been leading us to this experience of the cosmic consciousness. And when that happens, all those trials and struggles will be understood, and we know why they had to happen, and know why we had to embrace them for their ennobling lesson, because now we can see them in their true light. And while things seem to be so gradual, and we see that it was all necessary, from the cosmic consciousness perspective, we see ourselves as ancient beings passing through incarnation, following the doctrine of reincarnation that is suggested to us by these experiences. Indeed, the great upliftment of the cosmic consciousness experiences is justice and being aware of and changing habits. There are laws in our subconscious that are no longer serving us well. They may have been to help us survive as a child in the family and upbringing that we had, but now they need to be changed into new habits and new ways of living that are in harmony with the cosmic. Whatever is not well developed within us, whatever is holding us back in our interpretation of life, whatever we are unduly fearful of will become more known. But this illuminative experience and this new idealism it instills will help us understand what needs to be done and provide the strength to undertake this transformative change within us, in our relationships and in our environment. Because many of these things can seem daunting to the outer nature, but when it works as a co-creator with the cosmic, it will have more than enough strength. Indeed, by mastering the law of duality, we seem to have an inner and outer nature. We have a physical nature, a non-physical nature. For example, things express themselves as duality. That helps us learn the great lessons of life on this temple of the earth and the temple of the cosmos. But ultimately, that's a necessary illusion for learning the lessons. But as we master that law of duality, we'll come into the law of unity, and they'll have a full experience of the cosmic then. Sometimes it's thought, it's one of the pitfalls of the path, that we can just jump to unity. We can just think ourselves into unity. We cannot do that. We must learn these lessons and change these laws in the subconscious and work with time and space. Then we're able to transcend them as we master the law of duality into the law of unity and experience the cosmic consciousness state. And the cosmic consciousness state will give us the courage and the bravery to face the things we need to change in our life. That's why part of meditation is an act of non-avoidance, to accept whatever it is. It's part of the process of learning. As we come into that cosmic consciousness experience, we realize why we had to have those experiences. And we embrace them. We're no longer fearful of them. And we have the deeper interpretation of them. We no longer have a misinterpretation of them. We see the enriching nature of all things. And we're more able to assist others through whatever struggles they have. Indeed, the highly comprehensive and integrated AMORC studies and exercises methodically guide us in the development of cosmic consciousness and self-mastery. It is a gradual building experience, which at times includes great leaps forward in the form of illumination. But even those leaps were gradually built up in this current incarnation or previous incarnations. The process is akin to a sponge gradually soaking up water and changing in appearance in the process, or an iron rod gradually being heated up and changing into different colors in the process. The gradual growth and building up from our regular practice of meditation and other mystical exercises taught by the Rosicrucian Order AMORC, such as those to develop the psychic centers, is like us as a sponge soaking up the water, or us as an iron rod being heated up. We maintain our spirituality and individuality like the sponge or the iron rod, as we can still experience self-consciousness as needed. But at the same time, like the water and the heat, we increasingly access and realize the cosmic consciousness and unity with all, which then can guide our lives. Now, there's many characteristics of cosmic consciousness. Buck in his book lists 11 of them, and I'll give you the reference to that in the group chat later through Karen. But he mentions, for example, that in the actual experience of it, there can be an experience of subjective light. There can be like a great sense of light around oneself. There can be a moral elevation. The virtues are much more lived out and aware of. There's a new idealism, perfection that's instilled. There's an intellectual illumination where our capacity to understand things is greatly increased. There's a sense of immortality, not in the distant future, but now. There's an eternal now we come into. There's a loss of fear of death, in part because we have that experience of immortality now. And the loss of fear of death, it helps us experience others who are grieving. There's also a loss of the sense of sin. You see it more as sin in its original sense, to miss the mark. There's no sense of harshness or hardness in that. We see the larger perspective on the matter. Also, when we come into this type of experience, Buck mentions, and it's true, there's a suddenness, instantaneous of the awakening. Our previous character, intellectual, moral, and physical, has been greatly advanced and developed. He also had ideas about the age of illumination, particularly around about 33 years of age. However, it can occur much earlier, and even in children. The holy person of the Gala Sioux Black Elk describes, for example, as a young child experiencing what we would call cosmic consciousness. Again, it was through the symbolism of his culture, the Sioux in the United States. Also, he mentions that added to the personality is a great charm that is very attractive to persons, others. They have a sense there's something different about that person. There's something very deep and well-founded, and they can be relied upon for mature guidance in life. Now, in the cosmic consciousness state, there is an all-encompassing merging into knowing and experience that all are loved, that one feels love for all persons, 10 times stronger than one's ever experienced for anyone, but now one's doing it for everyone, and it's happening with ease. And just as with our outer mind can only handle one thing at a time, concentrate one thing at a time, when we enter the cosmic mind, all things are handled at once, and it's done with ease. One experiences that deep down in the hearts of everyone that they're doing their best, even though the outer self in its finite grasp is not able to comprehend that, because it does not have the infinite grasp of cosmic consciousness. In the cosmic conscious state, all knowledge is given and known in all things. The apparent mysteries of life drop away. This point is why we attune with the cosmic when we seek answers to pressing questions or important life issues. They're not readily answered by any other means. These deep answers are within the divine within us already. The illusions of time and space needed for the outer self for its evolution, as I mentioned earlier, and the evolution of the soul personality drop away. Gradually, the outer self learns to work in greater and greater harmony with the master within, the God within, as a partner with the cosmic. And in this manner, we are greatly ennobled, enriched, and carry forward and spiritualize all those elements, habits, and attitudes that are valued, and purge and let go of all those that are not. In the fulfillment of the purpose and meaning of life through the cosmic sense, there's the attainment of what Rosicrucians refer to as the rose quartz state. Now, some care has to be taken in speaking about the experience of cosmic consciousness, because especially when one first speaks about it, one wants to often tell it to everyone. It's so wonderful. There's such a deep sense of happiness. But some care has to be taken because, as Grandmaster Raymond Andrea said, that sometimes to say a little can be inspiring to another, to say more can be antagonizing. Someone has to have a sense how much to say. You know, there's the beautiful allegory of the cave of Plato, who was a mystic and philosopher who greatly helped form the Western culture that we have today. In the allegory of the cave, he talks about persons that are working and living chained down in a cave, and they just see a shadow on a cave wall in front of them that's projected from a fire behind them. But there's one of the persons in the cave that gets freed from the chains and sees that there's a fire behind them, and that's what's casting the shadows on the cave wall that they're interpreting as of their reality. And that person who's free from the chains not only passes by the fire, but then goes out the cave to the entrance and exit and is blinded by the great sun. Cosmic consciousness has a great experience of light as well, as that Buck spoke about. But when that person came back into the cave and started to tell the persons that were chained about what he experienced and what they're experiencing, they didn't want to hear about it. Sometimes there's only a few who want to hear a little bit about it. So we have to take time. Those who are seeking will be attracted to this, and it'll become more real as we develop and meditate. Each time we meditate, do the mystical exercises, it draws us closer and closer for that great leap. We're continuing to make those repeated experiences in our life and make it much more a reality and realization in our life. Also in Plato's Symposium, he talks about the ladder of love. There's the priestess and prophetess Diotima, was the initiator in the mysteries of Socrates, Plato's teacher. And there she talks about the different forms of love and how you ascend up in them, from eros to agape. So eros to do with the self-love, it's part of the self-consciousness. But agape is that benevolent love that we take in the cosmic conscious state. Both are needed, just as self-consciousness and cosmic consciousness need to live in a balanced way in mastery. But it's the agape and the cosmic consciousness, divine within, that needs to be guiding our lives. It's the one that they have the capacity to do that, not the outer self. So you see, this cosmic consciousness experience is greatly viewed in many aspects in our life. Now, any degree of contact with the cosmic consciousness and the expansive view and understanding it affords transforms us. Daily, we can attune with, recall, and re-enliven any such contacts. There are touchstone experiences for the rest of our lives, so that we are more ready to handle challenges and duties in a mature, wise, and uplifting manner. It can be helpful sometimes to hear about others' entry into the cosmic sense, as it hastens or re-enlivens the same in us. And it can reinvigorate our enthusiasm for our AMORC studies, exercises, and lines of service. We can use daily experiences to help us realize the cosmic sense. For example, when we cross the bridge, the sense that we're making that cross from self-conscious into cosmic consciousness for a new realization. Or when we walk upstairs, we're elevating our consciousness. Think of that consciously. This helps the outer mind realize those deeper impressions from meditation. Or when we reach the top of a hill or a building and have a high vantage point, the expansive view can suggest and assist the outer self to tune with the cosmic. And when we look out over a lake or an ocean and see all the waves, it suggests the great octaves of the cosmic keyboard and our attunement with the cosmic and cosmic consciousness. Or we hear beautiful music that's inspired by cosmic consciousness, or see inspiring art. And the deep unity that's suggested by relationships between peoples or in friendships. And when we are concerned about the well-being of another person or a creature, we can unite with them in the cosmic, can help uplift them, because in the cosmic conscious state, we've experienced all in that one soul, well and whole. The deep sense and well-being from the cosmic consciousness experience can be accessed anytime and remembered when we're feeling stressed or needing to comfort or encourage others. The experience of cosmic consciousness also has with it the great desire to maintain it, return to it, and further develop in realization. It is always with us in actuality. It is imbued in all things. It is a matter for us to increasingly realize it. In the experience of the one soul, we also have the strong inclination to assist others in experiencing and realizing this all-embracing consciousness and great sense of well-being, which is who we truly are and have always been. There's a great sense of familiarity with deep down in when we come into the cosmos conscious state. There's a degree of astonishment for the outer nature, but for inner nature is a great familiarity. Now, the great sense of dynamic system and order that we have in the cosmic consciousness experience can be emulated throughout various facets of our life, and how we set up and decorate our home and environment, for example, how we approach and ensure the system and order in our work in creative, thorough, precise, accurate, and thoughtful of the needs of others in ways that all match and are harmony with the way the divine works and the cosmic work. In other words, we become co-creators and co-partners with the cosmic. And this gives us the deepest sense of meaning and purpose and sense of mission in life. So to conclude, I'll mention a few conclusions, and I'll ask Sora Karen at this time to paste in the chat the resources for you, which you can save if you wish to explore these further. This is also, of course, a topic that's dealt with greatly in the weekly Rosicrucian lessons. And it's built up through a myriad spiritual exercises that we learn in the Rosicrucian Order. So in conclusion, I'll say that we have explored how the unforgettable realization of this all-embracing form of consciousness transfigures us, makes us whole, and increases our capacity for service. In the realization of cosmic consciousness, we are part of all, and astoundingly, we realize that all is part of us. And there is a tremendous love, understanding, and action directed in service for the welfare and evolvement of all. Thank you, friars and sorors and participants. It's great to be with you.